For anyone who's followed Formula One over the past few seasons, the idea of Max Verstappen leaving Red Bull would have seemed unthinkable, especially given the team's recent domination. Yet now, rumours are flying that the Dutch superstar might be on the verge of a seismic shift. Whispers of a move to Mercedes have grown louder, with insiders suggesting that if Red Bull can't fix their issues, Verstappen could pack his bags for a team that once reigned over the sport for nearly a decade. Helmut Marko's shocking admission about Max's exit clause only adds fuel to this growing fire. Could the unstoppable force at Red Bull really join the Silver Arrows? The very thought has fans buzzing, and it might just be the biggest storyline of this season. It's not hard to see why the possibility of a Mercedes switch has captured so much attention. Red Bull's recent struggles have been glaring, and the once peerless champion is left wrestling with a car that just can't seem to get its act together. Tyre degradation, balance issues, and an alarming lack of speed on race day have caused the team to slip from their 2023 highs into a downward spiral. If the RB21 doesn't improve quickly, Verstappen's patience could run out, and the exit clause Helmut Marko mentioned might be triggered before anyone realises what's happening. One of the biggest factors behind Red Bull's decline is the absence of technical mastermind Adrian Newey, who officially stepped back from the team's day-to-day operations. While there's still an army of engineers labouring behind the scenes, the missing spark is palpable. In 2023, Red Bull took 21 of 22 races, but in today's competitive landscape, the margin for error is razor thin. Teams like McLaren, Ferrari, and, yes, Mercedes are making strides. If Verstappen feels Red Bull can't match their pace, jumping to a stable frontrunner could become more than a rumour. It could be his best career move. In typical Helmut Marko fashion, he hasn't been shy about expressing his unease. From pointing out the lack of pace in the RB21 to openly stating that Verstappen has an exit clause, his words have set the paddock buzzing. Exit clauses aren't unusual in top drivers' contracts, but Marko emphasising it so publicly hints that Red Bull is worried. And if rumours are to be believed, Marko's own future could be tied to Verstappen's. He's stood by Max as a mentor figure for years, and many wonder whether Marko would stay if Max walked away. Marko's statements have also exposed tension within Red Bull. He believes the team needs to deliver immediate improvements to keep their star driver content, especially since Verstappen is chasing a fifth world title. By publicly acknowledging this, Marko sent a blunt message. Solve the car's performance issues, or face the fallout of losing one of the greatest drivers on the grid. It's unusual for senior staff to reveal such cracks in the armour, but it underscores how serious things have become. Right when it seemed Red Bull's biggest problem was the RB21's inconsistency, another controversy emerged. The rapid demotion of Liam Lawson after just 2 races, followed by Yuki Tsunoda's promotion, set off alarm bells. Instead of channeling all resources into making the car more competitive, Red Bull opted for a driver swap that felt hasty and puzzling. Verstappen reportedly took issue with it, feeling it was an unnecessary distraction from the team's real priority, refining a flawed chassis. Insiders claim this move was intended to give Tsunoda a platform to showcase his evolving talents, but some see it as a scramble for a magical fix that simply doesn't exist. If Max feels team leadership is ignoring his input, or if he believes they're throwing random solutions at a deeper problem, it only amplifies dissatisfaction. A frustrated champion can be a ticking time bomb. One push too many and he might look elsewhere, especially if the rest of the grid is eager to snap him up. Looming on the horizon are the 2026 engine regulations, which many predict will reshape the competitive balance of the sport. Mercedes, Ferrari, and possibly a few surprise entrants are rumoured to have a head start on refining their power units to comply with the new rules. Even teams like Aston Martin and McLaren, who've shown flashes of brilliance recently, could become serious contenders if they play their cards right in this new era. Then there's the constant chatter about Mercedes. Fans and journalists alike are circling Toto Wolff's every word, looking for clues about his driver lineup plans. George Russell is a significant piece of the puzzle. His contract discussions have dominated headlines, but the real mystery is whether Mercedes would pivot if Verstappen suddenly appeared on their radar. Zak Brown openly stated his belief that Mercedes is the most likely landing spot for Max, citing their future powertrain and proven championship pedigree. Toto Wolff stays diplomatic, yet even the slightest hint can spark a media frenzy. After all, if the RB21's issues carry on, Verstappen might decide it's time to chase success with a proven frontrunner. Mercedes isn't the only name being thrown around. Aston Martin has become a hot talking point, especially since Adrian Newey has been whispered about in connection with the team's ambitious project. Critics argue that a single engineering genius can't instantly transform a struggling squad, but if there's one person capable of shaping an outfit from the ground up, it's him. That said, culture and infrastructure count just as much as raw talent. Building a title-winning foundation requires harmony across an entire organisation, not just a star engineer or a star driver. McLaren is another intriguing option. They've bounced back with surprising pace, and Zak Brown's leadership has injected new life into the team's operations. However, there's a sense that McLaren might not have the same stability or near-guaranteed competitiveness that Mercedes offers. Still, it's impossible to rule them out entirely, given how quickly the F1 landscape can shift. In a sport where fortunes change from race to race, a couple of strong seasons from McLaren could make them irresistible to any top-tier driver, Verstappen included. For now, Verstappen remains laser-focused on snagging his fifth world title. But there's a time limit on how long he'll stick around if the RB21 continues to underdeliver. Red Bull leaders have reportedly set the summer break as their threshold for decisive progress. If they can't solve the tyre degradation issues, stabilise the chassis, and put Verstappen in a position to challenge for victories, there's a growing fear he'll pull the trigger on his exit clause. This ticking clock exerts crushing pressure. The Constructors' Championship looks increasingly out of reach if they can't keep pace with McLaren's or Ferrari's development curves, and every point lost pushes Verstappen further from his fifth title. If Red Bull fails to rally, the team could lose more than just trophies. They could lose the driver around whom they've built their empire. Meanwhile, rival teams watch carefully, ready to seize any advantage if Verstappen becomes available. For now, Verstappen remains laser-focused on snagging his fifth world title. But there's a time limit on how long he'll stick around if the RB21 continues to underdeliver. Red Bull leaders have reportedly set the summer break as their threshold for decisive progress. If they can't solve the tyre degradation issues, stabilise the chassis, and put Verstappen in a position to challenge for victories, there's a growing fear he'll pull the trigger on his exit clause. This ticking clock exerts crushing pressure. The Constructors' Championship looks increasingly out of reach if they can't keep pace with McLaren's or Ferrari's development curves, and every point lost pushes Verstappen further from his fifth title. If Red Bull fails to rally, the team could lose more than just trophies. They could lose the driver around whom they've built their empire. Meanwhile, rival teams watch carefully, ready to seize any advantage if Verstappen becomes available.